United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This is the organizational meeting, so that'll be done first before we do the regular town board meeting.
Okay, we'll do the roll call. Larry?
Here.
Ronnie?
Yes.
Jeannie?
Here.
James?
Here.
Kurt?
Here.
Okay, we're all set. We won't do the minutes till the next one.
You're up.
Okay, on the organizational meeting, we'll go down through the stuff and get resolutions to organize the town, actually. Name of official town bank. I need a resolution for the National Bank and Trust of Ellenburg and Bank North of Shays, what we've been using. I need a motion to that effect.
Actually, in the past years, we've done all the appointments and then made the resolution to accept them.
Okay.
That's what we did last year. You made the appointments and then you made.
You don't have a motion, you don't have
Unless there's discussion.
Right.
Well, let's put it this way, we'll go down through, and if there is a discussion, stop me and we'll go back. Official bank, town bank would be National Bank and Trust of Ellenburg Depot and Bank North of Shays.
Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, you gotta wait.
Larry, you
Yeah,
found it?
she's getting them one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait.
Mindy, I got one. Well, she can't hear me, but. Yeah. Mindy, I found him one.
Here's one, here's an extra one. Thank you.
We all set then?
No, she's got one. I can't
Oh,
write.
she's got yours. We'll get organized.
Go ahead.
Okay, she may
Yeah.
be involved in it.
He's got one.
Oh, you.
You keep it. You keep it up with it, and you have it. And like I said, any of these that you need to have me for discussion, you just tell me. Name of official newspaper, Plattsburgh Press Republican. Town clerk deputy.
Ellen Montgomery.
And if I go too fast, tell me. Deputy tax collector.
Helen Russell.
Records management, Carol Relation. Registrar of Vital Statistics, Carol Relation. Deputy.
Ellen Montgomery.
Everybody with me still? Highway superintendent, deputy? Oh, Fred's not here yet.
He's not.
He's just superintendent, Fred, eh?
Yeah, that's, I think his wife.
His wife, Nicole, that's what it was. Nicole Terrian. Deputy supervisor, Ellen Montgomery. She's a busy lady.
She went out of time.
She'll be mine first. Budget officer has been myself. Audit annual report, Mindy Guerin. Clerk to Town Justice, Darla Bilo. I suppose I should read these salaries, $3,060.13. And Sandra Lambert, $3,060.13. Secretary to the Supervisor, Mindy Guerin, $34,535.66.
34,000?
Yeah, should be already on there for you.
It is.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Custodian for the Town Hall, Gerald LaFountain, $2,618.26. Town Attorney, Joseph Lavarendo,
Excuse me. I'd like to obtain a new town attorney. I would. No personal grudges. I'd just like to make a motion. Actually, I spoke to some attorneys and I found an attorney that's interested in the job. There's Bill Fabro from Plattsburgh. And I would like to make a motion.
is he also the county attorney?
He used to be county attorney. I
Is
don't
he
believe he
still?
still is.
No, he's not.
I'd second that.
And a vote, please. Larry?
No.
Jeannie?
No.
Ronnie?
No.
Jim?
Yes.
Herb?
Yes.
Okay, Town Attorney stays Joseph Lavarendo. Salary $9,073.24. Codes Enforcement Officer, Tom Montgomery, $8,997.05. Zoning Clerk, Bridget Coolidge, $3,059.10. Town Historian, Bridget Coolidge, $545.90. There's one that got left off the paper, is Dog Control Officer. That's Lionel Perrier. And that's $6,748.56. 6,748.56. That was all the appointments, I think, or no? Board of Assessment Review. We have Randy Beach, who is still on until 2016. Marie Boris, who's on until 2017. Mary Ann Wood is to be reappointed, and that would go till,
She did that.
She
We
did
that
already.
last- Yes,
we did that.
we did that.
So her, no,
Who was saying, Jim?
Marie Bowles. You've got, you
so
should,
she'll be
You
2018.
have a list of,
you should have one.
excuse me, you have a list of them.
And then we have Chris Blair, 2015,
Okay,
and Crystal LaFave, 2016.
should we vote on all the appointments before we go on?
Yeah.
Well,
What
we
do
can
you-
do that, but, I mean, since my appointment was contested, you may want to vote on my appointment
Separately.
separately.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
I think we have one appointment that we had down here, or did we already do it? Stephen Thune has to be reappointed, right?
Right, yeah, the Board of Assessment was fine.
Yeah. Youth Commission, I
Youth Commission
can
was
just
Steve.
list them,
That was Steve, that was doing.
yeah. So, yeah, Steve has agreed to stay, so he'll go to 2017.
And
Zoning Board was, Dean Lajway had to be reappointed, and he has agreed to take that. His appointment will go to 2018, he's the chairman of the zoning board. And we have Ryan Blondo,
They're all fine.
Carlton, Greg Skinner, Matt Cook, Bridget Coolidge is secretary, they're all fine. And I suppose we could stop there and do our resolution for appointments.
Okay.
We need a resolution to appoint Joe Labrando to the, as the town attorney.
I would appoint Joe Lavanda.
I'll second it.
And a vote, please. Larry?
Yes.
Jeannie?
Yes.
Ronnie?
Yes.
Jim?
No.
And Herb?
No.
Okay. All other appointments, I need a resolution for all the other appointments made.
Make a motion for all the appointments as presented.
Jeannie and Ronnie?
Yeah.
Yep, this is for the ballots.
It's for all the other appointments.
And a vote there, please. Larry?
Yes.
Jeannie?
Yes.
Ronnie?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Herb?
Yes.
Supervisors appointments, all this is committees to work on if there's questions or problems with these certain areas. Youth Commission, I'd like to see Jeannie and Jim maybe take that. And there's not much to it unless there's problems, of course, then it's more. Park, I'd like to see Herb and Ron, get you around there before. Highway Department, Jim and Ron. Insurance, Herb and Jeannie. And Senior Citizens, Ron and Jeannie. Just get them on the right page there.
Must be lost here.
I can go back through them.
I'll go back to it. We got one.
Yeah, I'll go right back through them.
Go back on the zoning. Go back to the zoning.
Okay. Want to just let them copy out yours?
Want the zoning?
On the zoning, Dean Ladway's the chairman. Ryan Blondo. I got it.
Carl, thank you, Bill. Greg Spinner. Matt Cook. And Bridget Coolidge. Okay, from the Youth Commission,
We got
myself and Jim.
our,
Herbie and the highway, Jim and Scott.
Jim and myself.
Yeah. And then insurance, Herb, and myself.
And the Senior Citizens would be Ron and Jeannie. Park Manager, Gail Walcott, for $8,534.58. Association of Town Dues are $700.
How much, Larry?
700, it should be right on there.
Water, water.
I need a motion for authorization for the supervisor to pay bills not requiring a pre-audit as explained in section 118 of the town laws. That's just to pay bills without getting interest charged to us.
Make a motion authorizing supervisor to pay bills not requiring a pre-audit,
I'll second it.
section 118.
And a vote, please. Larry?
Yes.
Jeannie?
Yes.
Ronnie?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Herb?
Yes.
Mileage, it's been 40 cents, I don't know, if that's all right with everybody, 40 cents a mile? Okay.
Yeah, I guess so.
Senior Citizens Bus, $2,000.
Did they ever use that last year?
Yeah,
They did?
they used it, but they, I mean, they had some change, but
Right.
not just, they get paid for what they use, as long as it doesn't go over that. I need a motion for the annual financial report to New York State to be used as a supervisor's financial report.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
And a vote, please. Jim?
Yes.
Ronnie?
Yes.
Herb?
Yes.
Jeannie?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes. Need a motion to sign a contract with North Country Life Flight for $100.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
And a vote, please. Ronnie?
Yes.
Jeannie?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Herb?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes. New York State Association for Town Highway Superintendent dues, there's $150. Moore's Dog Control Contract, $2,200, we've sent that. And in the OSIP office, you've already done. Any questions, everybody all right with that? I entertain a motion to close the organizational meeting.
I'll second it.
Was the current manager, did you vote by resolution to
I did.
appoint her? I would recommend that.
Okay.
Yeah, she was on.
I think you stated the salary.
I did. Need a resolution to appoint Gail Walcott as a park manager.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
She's late.
She won't be late again.
And a vote on the park manager, please. Ronnie?
Yeah.
Jeannie?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Herb?
Yes.
Now I'll entertain a motion to close the organizational meeting.
None of them opposed.
I'll second it.
And a vote, please. Larry?
Yes.
Jeannie?
Yes.
Ronnie?
Yeah.
Jim?
Yes.
Herb?
Yes.
All right, we'll open the regular meeting with the reading of the minutes.
The closeout meeting, December 31st, 2013. Date, December 31st, 2013, time 7 a.m. at the Altona Town Hall, Altona, New York. Supervisor Ross called the meeting to order. Pledge of Allegiance and board members present. Supervisor Larry Ross, council members. Jeannie Bushy, absent. Herb Terrian, Ronnie Labarge, Joyce Nye. Others present, Deputy Supervisor Ellen Montgomery, Attorney Joseph Lavorando, and Highway Superintendent Fred Terrian. Minutes of the regular town board meeting held on December 9th, 2013 were read and accepted. Motion by Jeannie, seconded by Ronnie, vote all ayes. Resolution number 90, Board of Assessment appointment. Motion by Joey, seconded by Ronnie, motion adopted. The board appointed Mary Ann Wood as a member, the assessment review member, for a 5-year term ending 9/30/2018. Vote all ayes. Resolution number 91, Reading Center. Motion by Jeannie, seconded by Ronnie, the motion was adopted. The supervisors authorized to sign the contract for the Public Reading Center for the 2014 year between the trustees of the Clinton County Franklin Library System and the town of Altona. The library system supplies a rotating book collection for card-holding readers. Vote all ayes. Resolution number 92, petty cash for tax collectors. Motion by Jeannie, seconded by Ron. Motion adopted. The board approved the amount of $1,000 petty cash for the tax collector for the 2000 year. Vote all ayes. Resolution number 93, the meeting dates for 2014. Motion by Joey, seconded by Jeannie. The motion was adopted. Meeting dates for 2014 are scheduled at 7 p.m. as follows. January, organizational and the regular town board meeting, January 13th. February 10th, March 10th, April 14th, May 12th, June 9th, July 14th, August 11th, September 8th, October 6th, November 6th, first Thursday after election, December 8th in the closeout meeting, December 31st, 2014 at 10 a.m. Vote all ayes. Resolution number 94, contract for dog control. Motion by Jeannie, seconded by Ronnie. The motion was adopted. The supervisors authorized to sign a contract with Moore's to serve as the town as an animal shelter, cost not to exceed $2,200. Vote all ayes. Resolution number 95, a JCEO contract. Motion by Herb, seconded by Ronnie. The motion was adopted. The supervisors authorized to sign the contract between the Joint Council for Economic Opportunity of Clinton and Franklin counties and the town of Altona. The town of Altona agrees to pay JCEO the sum of $20,764.80 for that portion of the community outreach program for the period commencing December 1st, 2013 and ending November 30th, 2014. Vote all ayes. Resolution number 96, mailbox replacement. Motion by Jeannie, seconded by Ronnie. The motion was adopted. This resolution will replace resolution number 43 of the February 9th, 1998 meeting. The replacement cost of a rural mailbox accidentally destroyed by a town highway plow will be $25 per box instead of the $20 previously agreed upon. Vote all ayes. The board received an activity report for 2013 from Tom Montgomery, Codes Officer. Resolution number 97, transfers. Motion by Herb, seconded by Jeannie. The motion was adopted. The following budget transfers are needed for 2013. A 1990.4 from contingency, $414 to A 1110.4, justice contractual. A 1990.4 from contingency, $320.59 to A 1220.4, supervisor contractual. A 1990.4 from contingency, $105.16 to A 1650.4, central printing. A 7110.2 from parks equipment, 1960.99 to A 5410.4, sidewalks. A 7110.2 from parks equipment, $2,200 to A 7310.4, youth program. A 7110.2 from parks equipment to $400 to A 7310.4, youth programs. A 7110.2 from parks equipment, $5,975 to A 9050.8, unemployment. To A 7110.2 for parks equipment, $4,383.10 to A 9035.8, Medicare. A 1620.2 from buildings equipment, $1,244.71 to A 19035.8, Medicare. A 1420.4 from attorneys contractual, $289.83 to A 9030.8, social security. A 1355.1 from assessor's personal service, 1097.01 to A 1410.1, clerk tax collector. A 1420.4 from attorney contractual, $410.12 to A 1410.4, town clerk tax collector. A 1355.1 from assessor, $2,756.90 to A 6772.4, JCEO. Vote all ayes. Resolution number 98, approval of bills. Motion by Ronnie, seconded by Jeannie. The motion is adopted. To pay the bills is presented. General Fund, $9,573.56. Light District Number 1, $1,984.41. Trust and Agency, $66,032.16. Total $77,590.13. Vote always. Note bills with check numbers after the amounts have been prepaid. Motion to adjourn by Ronnie, second by Jeannie. Vote always. Respectfully submitted, Carol Relations, Town Clerk.
Carol, that resolution couldn't have, the motion couldn't have been made by her. He wasn't here.
Oh, I'll check. Well, I know Herb wasn't here. I forgot to make him absent. Which resolution?
The transfers, 97, resolution 97.
He evidently did it last year. I will check my notes and see who did that one.
I think it was Joey.
I think it was
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was Joey.
Okay, I will check my notes. Thank you.
I don't want to be blamed for not meaning.
That's right.
Approve those items that you do next meeting, those minutes. once they're
Oh.
amended.
Well, we can approve them as corrected, right?
Well,
Yeah.
she wants to make sure that,
Yeah, I will make
Joey
sure that
actually-
Joey actually did,
Okay.
and I do have it,
Do that.
you know, I have to know it.
Okay.
That's what I get for going back to my computer and not checking it.
I will forgive you.
Thank you.
That's mine.
All right, first thing on the agenda, we have Fire District number 21, and I think Mr. Harriman has been around to see the board members. It's quite an involved process, and he has explained it. And I asked him here to go through it with us, to see if everybody can get their questions answered. If not, well, that's what we gotta do to.
Okay, I think we all know, if you don't know me, my name is Paul Harriman. I reside in the town of Altona, up on Route 11 in Fire District 21. Clarence Corrier's old house, if any of you know Clarence. Lived there approximately 20 years. I got a daughter that's gonna be 20 in February. She was 3 months old when we moved in. I've been in the EMS a lot longer than that. I started out in Cherubusco approximately 24 years ago. I've seen EMS go through a lot of changes over the last 20 years. Presently, we're in a crisis. Cherubusco, Elmberg, Center Elmberg started out back in May, trying to come up with a resolution or something that would correct our situation with the following volunteers. The towns are really interested in coming together to provide shared services for the 3 areas. Fire District 21 falls within, part of Fire District 21 falls within the town lines. And one of the thoughts amongst the group, that is, if we start a non-for-profit ambulance organization, we would like all the participants, all the sharers of that service to pay the same rate in taxes. So in order to do that, we need to establish an EMS district along the lines of Fire District 21, which is currently being covered by EMS coverage from Elmberg Depot. The proposal that's before the board today allows the town to establish that district and collect a tax. Now, I know no one likes to hear the word taxes, but unfortunately, in nowadays age, EMS coverage is not cheap. As this board is already under the, geysers in Altona, with the fire district picking up and expanding their tax to be able to put on 24/7, 365-day coverage. We're looking for a unified system. The system will be volunteers along with a paid crew, hopefully starting in 2015. We just can't do it with just a paid crew. Route 11 travels right through our town. If we have a 2-car MVA, which we do on many occasions through in Elmberg Depot or Elmberg Center, it takes 2 ambulances just to cover that. We truly can't wait for a mutual aid ambulance from Chateauguay or from Moores or Champlain to come in, or even from Altona to help cover us. So we plan on keeping all 3 ambulances in the area. That being said, some tax money would like to be generated. We'll also, to help supplement that, start billing Similarly, that goes on throughout the state. Morrisonville's gonna bill. In order to do it, fire departments themselves cannot bill. New York State, New York City has controlled that. We've tried for many years to be able to allow a fire department bill, and they have struck that down through politics many, many times because of the way New York City works. We're looking, when we sat down with our lawyer, we tried to figure out what exactly it might cost to run an EMS district of this latitude. Knowing some of the other quotes that are out there and what some other people are paying, it's reasonable that we could run, $400,000 and then supplement with income generated from billing services. So someone in Cherubusco, where I met last week, said, well, you're gonna bill, why are you billing a resident that's paying a tax? Well, there's a lot of people that utilize our service that don't pay taxes. It might be 2 car accidents coming through town. We had 2 Vermonters meet at Cemetery Curve. Neither one of them paid taxes in our town. If we had been a billing service, we would have been able to collect off of their auto insurance to be able to cover the cost of taking care of that call. If you have a resident that rents, they don't pay a tax. The landowner pays the tax, but the resident utilizes that service. There will be a hardship policy in place, like there is in a lot of other non-for-profits, that says if you can't afford to pay, that's not a big deal. We're not gonna collect that from you. But we can't do what's called soft billing. Medicaid, Medicare are very clear about what you have to bill and what you can't bill. And so if we choose not to bill a resident in town, Medicaid can turn around and say, you can't bill us either. So we have to treat everybody the same. That being said, if you truly can't afford to pay whatever the copay is or whatever the bill is, it will get written off. We're not expecting to put a hardship on our residents in our town. The proposal would allow the 3 townships to tax everybody the same. So someone in Cherubusco utilizing the service, or someone in Fire District 21 that uses the service, they would all be taxed at the same rate. So that somebody in Cherubusco isn't paying, $2 a thousand, and somebody down in Altona is paying $1 a thousand. I do not believe that it'll be the full rate of $1 a thousand. But in talking with the lawyers, he wanted to make sure that we put the highest amount that we thought it would take on this paperwork, so that we didn't run into trouble later on and say, if we had put 50 cents a thousand and we needed 70 cents a thousand, we could not go back and collect that extra money and not make that work for the participants in our town. We are talking about a very small area in the town of Altona. They currently only pay fire tax to Fire District 21. They do not pay any other town tax, so they're not gonna get the increase that the town of Altona residents are gonna get. They're presently, I think their fire rate's $1, I wanna say 26, it could be as much as $1.30 a thousand. The added $1, for a $100,000 home, you're talking $100 if we go at that rate. It's truly to have 24/7, 365-day service, I think is pretty reasonable. 2 tanks of gas if you want a $100,000 home, which I don't, less than that. I'll open it up to you for any kind of questions you might have. You've had a chance, I visited with all of you at some point to read over the paperwork that's present. There is a little bit of a timeline, because in order to get it on the 2015 rolls, we have to be able to get it to the tax assessor in March. The way the process works, as I'm learning it, because I sat with Cherubusco and talked on the phone with my lawyer, I told him though, I said, I think when I'm all done with this, I'm gonna need a degree. And he says, yeah, you're gonna get a degree in insanity for taking this on, but the time restraints are pretty clear. We gotta make sure that it's on the rolls in March, so that people have the ability to review what their taxes are when they do the review in June. So if you were to adopt this tonight, then over the course of the next couple of weeks, there'd be some paperwork that have to go into the newspaper. You'd have to have a public hearing. which if we schedule it on a day that I know I can be here, I'll be more than happy to be here and answer any questions for any of the residents. After that public hearing, you could have the vote to adopt the resolution, and then it has to sit for 30 days. Any resident in that area has a right to petition and put it to a vote if they so choose. If no one chooses to do that after 30 days, then we can get it to the tax assessor's office, and they can put it on the tax roll. Okay, I'll open it up for any questions if you have any.
Why would you go this route rather than what they did in Fire District 1?
Good question. The Fire District 1 has pretty fine lines. We're combining 3 fire departments and a fire protection area. So you have the whole town of Cherubusco, but it's actually the town of Clinton, as one separate entity. You then have Fire District 15, which is up in Elmwood Center. You have Fire District 21. And then you have the fire protection that resides outside of those 2 other districts in the town of Altona, or in the town of Elmwood. You would end up having to contract with each fire department separately. Whereas this way, we're able to just contract with the town to establish the ambulance district. It's a much simpler method. It is, in your case, in the town of Altona, because the fire department has taken on the charge, it's easier for them to raise the tax than to create the district and tax it separately. So that's the way they chose to do it. We could contract, we could have a third party come in and we could contract with each department, or we could contract with Morrisonville and then just raise the tax. We felt that because we're combining these 3 large areas, that it was better to form a district versus doing all those different contracts.
Okay, on this plan, it says the town of Altona will contract with a newly formed corporation ambulance service called Northern Adirondack EMS Incorporated. Now, how do we know that that's who we go with? In other words, maybe we can find somebody cheaper or somebody closer or whatever.
Well,
Who is Northern Adirondack EMS?
Northern Adirondack is a group of, it will have an overseeing board that will include somebody from the town of Clinton, somebody from the town of Elmwood, somebody from the Cherubusco Fire Department, somebody from Elmwood Center Fire Department, somebody from Elmwood Depot Fire Department. And they're looking to get a resident from the fire protection area also. So the board is a volunteer board, that's kind of like Morrisonville, they have a volunteer board that oversees the running of the service.
Now, who's the actual Northern Adirondack EMS Incorporated? It's not these members.
I got elected the president.
Okay, and then who's the MS? What I'm saying is this already in?
Right now, the lawyer is in the process of forming the non-for-profit. That'll be a combined service of the 3 fire departments. We'll also be able to take in anybody that's not involved with the fire department into the volunteer service.
And even though they're not for profit, they'll be able to collect.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yep. Morrisonville is a non-for-profit. They're gonna collect. They collect, if you mutual aid, if one of your EMTs pick up a call right now, and I'm assuming that you have either a contract with Morrisonville for mutual aid or with the town of Morris, those agencies bill. They will bill from the time they pick up that call for mileage and for the type of call it is, all the way to the hospital. Our plan is to provide a critical care tech and an EMT 24/7, 365, starting in 2015.
But that's written right in here that we would settle with this company. I don't know if that's even legal, is it? Because don't you have to go out and bid for that?
You may have to, generally that's what's done.
Usually you get 3
You-
quotes.
You could, if you wanted to, once you create this ambulance district and collect truly, it's an amount of, the total taxable value is $4,200,000 and some odd thousand, or it calculates out to $4,200 and some odd cents. So if you think that you can get somebody to cover that area, you can go to Morrisonville. Their CON right now presently won't cover that. Cherubusco, Elmwood Center have transferable mutual CONs. A CON, if you don't know, the health department says where you can provide medical coverage for a certain area. Presently, Cherubusco and Elmwood Center have transferable CONs. They are agreeing to turn those CONs over to the non-for-profit in the area. Ellenberg Depot has a different type of CON. We have to surrender ours, and then the health department is gonna give us a CON to cover the whole area. So, in order for that organization to come in, they'd have to do right now what Morrisonville is trying to do in the town of Altona, and they would have to go and get a CON to cover our area. So one of the reasons we chose to form a non-for-profit in our area is that the CONs were agreed to come into this organization and give their CONs to this organization. The organization is mainly gonna be made up of the Ellenberg Depot, Cherubusco, and Ellenberg Center Fire Department members. So, I mean, you could, if you wanted to, go out to bid with it, you don't have to. That's truly, you know, Brad Pinsky, who is our lawyer, has done probably the most in New York State for establishing ambulance districts. If you chose to do that, myself as a resident would have a hard time with that. I've been serving the Ellenberg Depot Fire Department for 20 years. That's the area that I live in, is District 21.
I just didn't know if it would be legal, being that, with your procurement policy, if you could do
Well,
that.
it's not required, if it's considered a professional service, you wouldn't have to necessarily, but you would still have to comply with your procurement policy. I mean, it doesn't sound like they're making.
Well, does your procurement policy go over $5,000? Where does it set its limit for where you have to go out to contract?
You know, we just redone that too, I'll have to go look, I don't remember the amount, but, even at that rate, we'd have to get written quotes, I believe, on those, even if it isn't, it doesn't have to be bids, but it has to be verbal, is what I'm trying to say, verbal quotes, I think, huh?
Well, we have to look at the policy. Generally, if competitive bidding is not required, then your procurement policy would go into effect. That's the general rule. I think in most cases, I think there has been a request for a submission of bid, particularly with something which will be as expensive as that.
Yeah.
If nobody else bids, then obviously there's not much an issue.
Then maybe it wouldn't be an issue then, but, I just wanna bring that out because, if it, you know, we've got them written in there, and if we have to.
Well, I know that up in St. Lawrence County, the Tiers organization, which you can go online and look it up, is a non-for-profit organization that combined 5 fire departments up in St. Lawrence County. They don't go out to bid with each individual town to say, we want that service, we want to bid that service. I just don't, I mean, you could do it, I guess, if you wanted to, you can do pretty much.
Well, it's not that I want to, I wanna be legal, I don't want.
Right, no, I
somebody to come back and
understand
say,
what you're saying.
you know, you didn't-
Well, first of all, this organization has not been created yet, and
No.
they do have to have, my understanding is they have to be authorized by Mountain Lakes,
Right.
and
Okay.
there's a process for that. So it isn't necessarily a fact that you're gonna be dealing with this not-for-profit corporation if for some reason it doesn't get organized and approved.
But the way this is written is that you would be going in
Right.
to contract with that was a concern.
We don't
Not
know-
that I
we don't
don't
know
want
that
to,
for
it's
sure
just-
yet because the organization.
Yeah, so that would have to be changed, I guess, to,
And in order to form this organization to exist, you need all of these towns.
I can guarantee you right now that Cherubusco, I was at their board meeting the other night, is fully in agreement with this. They have 4 EMTs, and when one family leaves, they have 2. Ellenberg Center just bought a brand new ambulance. They're willing to turn that over to the organization for free. Ellenberg Depot has said, we're giving our ambulance to this organization. It's not a question of, who we're looking to go to in Fire District 21. They pretty much know that the people that have been taking care of this area are gonna continue to take care of this area. I'm not looking for you to do anything illegal. The lawyer wouldn't have drawn it up this way if he didn't feel that it was something that he's done throughout New York State. The non-for-profit is in the process of being formed. All that takes a little bit of time. The reason that I'm here today is because there is a time restraint in order to be able to start this ambulance district. And I'm sure that if he didn't feel confident about putting Northern Adirondack ambulance service in the contract, then he wouldn't have done it, he would have worded it differently.
One of the requirements for this is there has to be a computation of the cost to a typical property owner.
Correct.
And my understanding is if that exceeds the state rate, then there has to be approval. There are some exceptions, but it may have to be approved by the comptroller's office. Where are the figures necessary? Because the plan that you're talking about has to include
If
the
you look,
cost of the typical property owner.
if you look down through this, it says in there exactly what the cost for the, you didn't get, this was attached to your, okay, here you go. Okay, so it basically what it amounts to is that we predicted that the cost would be no more than $1 a thousand for the allotted property owner. So if you have a $100,000 home, you're looking at $100 a year. I mean, I know the tax rate in Altona went up, the fire tax rate went up, more than $1. To be able to cover for the Altona ambulance service. Now, one of the reasons we want to create a district, now it's not as important in Altona as it is in Cherubusco, in the town of Clinton, and in the town of Ellenburg, is the windmills. We did not feel that the windmills should be left out of this, and we just go to the town and say, we want you to pay a certain amount. That's why we're creating the districts. We want to include the windmills in that money to help keep the cost of this spread evenly throughout the whole area. There are no windmills, I believe, in District 21. I haven't seen
Does
them
it
yet.
only go district, or does it go town? Because our other Fire District 1 will get full, they do get full.
That, but we don't have any windmills in Fire District 21. In our little area, there are no windmills.
No, but the windmills are paid to town of Altona, so I wonder if that would.
Okay, by creating the Fire District 21, the windmills cannot negotiate with a special district. Okay, so in the town of Clinton and in the town of Ellenburg, they have no choice but to pay the fire tax, whatever that fire tax is, whether they're in the protection or if they're in the district. I don't think there's any in District 15 either. What some of the residents in our Ellenburg had a problem understanding is, the Ellenburg Depot Fire Department actually raised their fire protection contract with the town of Ellenburg. We asked for an additional $30,000, which put them over the 1.66% tax cap. So they had to have a hearing because they went over the tax cap. But also this year, they added on 15 windmills at 3.25 apiece. So when they calculated that in, the residents actually are paying less money because of the added value onto the assessed value. So the windmills have to pay the special district tax. Once this district is created, if there was windmills in Fire District 21, they would have to pay it. It's the same way in the town of Ellenburg and the town of Clinton.
But you said there aren't any, correct?
There aren't any. No, we don't have that
If
benefit.
that doesn't cut that, do those windmills go by those fire districts, or
They
go
go
down?
by the special district. Any real property located within the district that you create will be taxed proportionately based on value.
Because I wasn't so sure that they couldn't be, that it was a special district drop from.
They'd have to be in the special district to pay the special district tax.
Well, the windmills that you have are in a special district. They're in your fire district.
Right, but.
And so they're paying the fire district tax. They're not gonna even get an opportunity. I mean, they could, in the town of Ellenburg and the town of Clinton, actually have an opportunity, I guess, to petition in that 30-day window and say, you know, we wanna put this to a vote to the residents. I suppose they could do that, because they're gonna pay a lion's share of the tax. However, when they came into our towns, they said, we're here and we're gonna give you lots of money. Well, now our town needs a little bit of money. And $1 a thousand, we feel, like I said, I don't believe it's gonna be $1 a thousand. But in making sure that we were accurate with the total amount that we would be putting on a taxpayer, we calculated it at $1 a thousand.
Now, when do you meet with Ellenberg supervisor? Because he didn't seem to.
I was supposed to meet with him today. He's missed a bunch of our meetings for whatever reason, I'm not sure, elections or whatever. He unfortunately called me and said he was sick. And he truly sounded sick, and I don't wanna catch it. I don't wanna come here and give it to all you guys. He had some questions because he hadn't been in some of the meetings. We had originally predicted, when Greg Poupor, I don't know if any of you know Greg, met back in May with us, he just hypothetically threw out the figure of 40 cents a thousand. Well, as we sit down and we look through costs alone, in order to employ 2 EMTs, 24/7, 365, you're looking at roughly $260,000. The total assessed value for this area is $630,000. So we would be able to collect, if we did $1,000,000, $630,000. If you take $260,000 out of that, that doesn't leave an awful lot. And that's, I mean, I've heard quotes, and quote me if I'm wrong, Morrisonville saying that it would cost $420,000 to be able to put someone here 24/7. So I'm predicting that we're gonna be around the $400,000 mark, but we have some added expenses that the fire departments don't already benefit from. In order for that ambulance to sit in your fire station, the ESEPT insurance is covered. That ambulance is covered with no additional cost. The workers' comp, the fire department volunteer workers' comp fund does it by population. So they look at the population that the fire department covers. They say, okay, for that amount of population, you pay this amount of money. For ambulance service volunteer, it's different. You pay by emergency vehicle. So once we extrapolate those ambulances, those 3 ambulances out of those fire stations, we now are gonna be taxed to be able to have a volunteer go on that ambulance $30,000 a year. $15,000 for the first emergency vehicle, and $7,500 for each additional one after that. And we have 3 ambulances to insure. When we add on paid service group, we're looking at an additional $20,000 in workers' comp fund. There's $50,000 that has to be made up somewhere. On top of your $260,000, you're at $310,000 right there. And that doesn't include anything else. That doesn't include buying supplies, fuel costs, all of that. Now, it is predicted through the calls that we have roughly 250 calls a year, that we're gonna generate about $160,000 in revenue. So that would also help offset the cost of starting up this organization.
Is it anticipated that at some point, the cost of the ambulance is going to be paid for by the towns within your district?
What do you mean the cost of the ambulance?
Well, I mean, is it anticipated that you will be providing the ambulances, or the fire departments will be providing ambulances?
The fire departments will turn their ambulances over to the non-for-profit.
Well, but when they,
Then, when a new ambulance needs to be generated, the plan is to set money aside, and the non-for-profit will purchase an ambulance. We're not gonna go back to the town and say, well, we need to go buy an ambulance, so we need to buy that ambulance for us. The goal is that this non-for-profit will be self-sufficient. We also have to plan for, like people in Cherubusco and Ellenburg say, well, at some point the windmills may leave us. And that may be true, we don't know that. We have to set money aside so that in the event that the windmills pull out, we can offset the tax base and not go back to as high a tax base as we already have.
When not a profit, though, if you're setting money aside, that's.
If you're not for profit, you can set money aside. Yep.
I personally would have felt more comfortable being involved with the meetings earlier, like maybe all 3 supervisors, their boards, their EMTs, their fire commissioners, and maybe attorneys. Because when we create this tax district, it's a forever thing. I mean, we can't, once we start this, it's gonna be a forever tax entity, so it's pretty serious stuff. I don't know what effect this resolution would have on the final outcome. I mean, if it's just a public hearing, it wouldn't have as, I mean, that would just get the information out.
well, but you, in the meantime, you have to, according to this, you have to prepare a map, a plan,
I have a map here.
and a report,
The
correct?
plan is here. I mean, our lawyer did all this work. The non-for-profit's paying for this, whereas we could have said to Joe, hey, Joe, we'd like you to do this. Can you prepare all this work? You know, I have 3 sets of resolutions at my house for each town. Okay, so everything is right here. Like I said, Brad Pinsky, this isn't his first go-around. He's been doing this for quite a while. He knows exactly what it is you need, and it's all right here. Notice of hearing. I don't know how else better to, I mean, he is handing this to you on a platter, and the non-for-profit right now, Brad has said, he's willing to forego billing us until we start taking in money and are able to pay him.
This is only gonna cover District 21?
Okay, it's
Nothing else?
hold on. This tax is correct. It's only gonna cover the area of District 21 that falls within the lines of Altona. Here's a map, and I'll go around, I'll show you that little quick area,
I know,
okay? So, if you look right here, this is the town line, it comes up to this corner and cuts back. Okay, so this little section right here is the little area that we're talking about. It's part of the plank road up to where the Seguins live.
You're saying this is?
Yep, it goes over to where Dr. Maynard lives, across the Twin Bridges, and then cuts back over to near Green Valley Road. It's only $4.2 million in tax base. That's the only area we're talking about. Okay? So, it's this little area right here. Right, this little bit right here. We felt that, I mean, we could have foregone that, we could have said, no, as an organization, we'll pick up that little area for free, but we didn't feel that that was fair either. We felt that everybody should pay the same tax rate as the people in Cherubusco, as the people in Ellenburg.
So what we've infiltrated with Morrisonville, what you're saying is, once they start here in the town of Altona, they're not allowed to go in that district?
No, they're not. Presently, their contract with, because I talked to Dean Lajway, their contract is for the fire district
Right.
in Altona. It does not cover that district at all. It's not included. It wasn't included in the CON. I mean, we're working with Morrisonville. We don't have a problem with them having a CON for the whole county. And there's financial reasons for that. In order to do a CON in New York State, it costs roughly $15,000, whether you're picking up just the town of Altona or if you're picking up the whole county. The CON process, other than having to mail stuff out to every entity that's involved, your mailing list is bigger, it is $15,000.
What's CON stand?
Certificate of need. It's what you get from the state that says you have permission to give medical care inside that area.
You know, all these ambulances, but this new one, Morrisonville, when they come on board, if in this district, they need help,
Mutual aid is still the same.
there's still going to be the
Yeah,
same mutual
they
aid
actually,
that
the fire
exists now.
department, has, a little more control now, as like, Danamora Saranac do. They choose not to let, in Danamora Saranac, they choose not to let that civilian ambulance go inside the prison. You could, the fire department could choose to not have it mutual aid with us if we don't have an ambulance available to take care of our needs. But that's not our goal. Our goal is, if we have 3 ambulances to be able to take care of our area, our goal is if we have a 2-car MVA, we're gonna send 2 ambulances to there and we're gonna backfill with volunteers that 3rd ambulance and put it on standby. So that's what we presently do already. If we have a 2-car MVA right at the school, 2 ambulances respond, we put another one on standby to cover our area. If we had a bus accident, then Morrisonville could mutual aid to our call. The same way it is right now. We wouldn't change that. We would still help cover, like presently, we get called to Alder Bend. If Morrisonville's online here 24/7, we might not get called to Alder Bend to cover the calls down there on Alder Bend. But that's okay.
Paul, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
The people in this area, you for example, let's say Cherubusco, Town of Clinton, Town of Ellenburg, everything stops right now. They are not paying any increased taxes for services from Morrisonville that we in the town of Altona will be getting, because they're not getting services from Morrisonville, correct? In other words, your tax bill, your fire tax is for the town of Ellenburg,
The fire tax in District 21
goes to District 21.
goes to District 21. We pay
So
nothing
when
into
my
the town
taxes
of.
go up next year to pay for Morrisonville's 24/7 coverage, you are not gonna face that.
Nope.
With or without your changes.
Nope.
Okay.
And if you wanted Morrisonville, if you wanted to start and tax the residents in District 21 for EMS coverage, you would have to create an ambulance district and give the money to.
So essentially,
Morrisonville.
you're just asking the folks in this little triangle to pay for the coverage that they're gonna be getting.
Correct. That's all we're asking.
Well, now, I know you're saying you're basing it $1 and 1,000, but you don't really have any way of saying that
Well,
it won't
for sure.
exceed that.
no, we will not exceed that. One of the things the lawyer was very clear on when he told me, talked to me about doing this contract. You do not wanna put an amount on here and then go over it.
But see, that's what happened with our fire district now. People were told $1 amount.
Well,
That it
and
was
I have a
going
little.
up, and it actually went up.
I have a little bit of a problem in our town too, because originally we were thinking it was gonna be 40 cents or 50 cents on the 1,000. And the more we get into it, we realize that's the reason we put $1 on this paperwork. It's another reason why we're having public informational meetings the end of January. Okay, and you can put this in your log. We're gonna hit all 3 fire districts to discuss with the residents. There's already posters out in town. We're hoping to meet with a person from the press this week. We weren't able to hook up last week to talk about the formation of this. In the 28th of January, we will be in the Ellenburg Depot Fire Department at 7 PM to discuss with, and you could be up in Ellenburg Center and come to our meeting, it doesn't matter. Okay,
What time, 7 PM, you said?
7 PM. We will be on the 30th of January, we will be in Cherubusco at 7 PM. It's all at the fire station. And then the 31st will be Ellenburg Center. Now, once our non-for-profit is completely formed, one of the things we're gonna look for is the shared services grants that are out there. We obviously need some startup money to be able to complete our CON process. We would like to go paid before that, but I don't think that we're gonna, before 2015, January 2015, I don't believe we're gonna be able to go paid, it's gonna have to be all volunteer. We're leaving all the ambulances in the stations that they're in, there's a lot of coordination that has to go on. There's still a lot of work, this is my first hurdle. So at these meetings, we're gonna basically tell them the same thing we're telling you. We're looking to provide for ambulance service for our people, and one of the ways to release that is to eventually go to a paid service with a unified service of volunteer and paid. Now, the Cheers program up in Saranac, up in St. Lawrence County, I spoke with him. His budget's roughly $400,000, but they have a ton more calls than we have. They can have as many as 6 calls a day during the summer because of all of the lakes and all the stuff that goes on up there. They have multiple ambulances. They also have the benefit of the town, or the county is self-insured. So they don't have to get into the New York State Workers' Comp Board or worrying about how many vehicles they have and what they're paying for insurance on that. The county picks up all that. So we have some additional expenses in this area. But their budget's still only $400,000. I have a Saturday in February planned to go up and pick their brains to find out how they do it. So.
All right, well, you got a schedule here. Do you wanna go through it? How do you wanna handle it, you guys? You feel comfortable with it as it is, or you wanna go through step by step here to make sure we know what we're doing?
What I would like to find out, Larry, is if Mr. Pinsky has made a determination as to what the cost to the typical taxpayer in an ambulance district has been established by the state comptroller's office.
That just came out, I just got that, did you get that?
No.
That's a guidelines on that. see if something else we want.
And, let's see here.
I mean, obviously, the number of calls you have influence how much revenue you're generating. One good thing that we have to our, but it's also a bad factor, is that we are reasonably 25 miles away from any hospital. Whether we're in Cherubusco and we go to Malone, or whether we're in Ellenburg Center and we go to CBPH, we're 25 miles away. The process allows for you to bill for charge for miles that you have a patient in your ambulance. That's another place where we pick up a lot of revenue. The city of Plattsburgh, they hardly get anything for mileage, because all their calls are right there around CBPH. Out where we are, okay, we're gonna generate some miles. We're estimating that it'll be roughly $80,000 worth of calls and $80,000 worth of mileage that is a potential for us to collect. I mean, I could take a few minutes, if you guys wanna move on, I can call Brad, see if he's available to answer any of your questions.
Well,
If there's something I
we go
haven't
through
answered.
this step by step and see. Like the first part, prepare a map, plan, report in such a manner and such details determined by town board, and file such map and plan, report the office of the town clerk.
Okay, so
You
in your,
got the map there.
in your packet, here's your map, okay? Here is your report and plan, okay? And, what was the next piece in that one?
File it with the town clerk.
Okay, so who's the town clerk?
Well, you have, another thing that's gotta be published in the newspapers is.
Well, that's the next
I
step.
was just going
Is
through
it-
those steps.
Is a description of the boundaries.
Has to be written.
Okay, the
Has to
description,
be written.
the description of the boundaries,
This is not what you've got there, you have to describe it as you would
Is
describe
this-
it in a deed.
I'm not, I don't know, all I'm saying is that the information was given to Brad. You know whether or not you're in District 21 or not by how you pay your taxes, and yes, you're right, I guess maybe you're right, I don't know, I'd have to talk to Brad.
It says it in the resolution itself, but I'm familiar with that, dealing with other water districts and other inlet districts. I mean, you have to specifically describe the boundaries of the district, as if you're describing the piece of property to be conveyed in a deed. I
Okay,
think we
well,
did that maybe by following a tax map, that you have to, somehow we're gonna have to determine
well, basically,
the property.
I mean, if you are putting this off, and that's what you choose to do, that's your choice. Just know that once the non-for-profit is formed up in that area, that we might come back to the town and ask that you help provide service for that area that's not covered. Because if we don't meet the deadlines to be able to get this on the tax rolls, and we just go month after month, granted, it's only $4,000 or less. It's not fair for the residents of this District 21 in the town of Altona not to be paying any ambulance tax and still collecting the service. So, I mean, the board can do what they truly want to do. If the lawyer feels that this wording isn't appropriate, it was mailed to him last week, he had an opportunity to read it, just as all of you have had an opportunity to read it, an opportunity to get a hold of Brad and talk to him about it, so that it could have been changed for this meeting, if they so felt that that's needed.
I really feel that with 3 different towns and all the different paperwork, that it's not gonna happen in time, but, I mean, we can do the best we can to see. I don't even know if there's other ways of doing this that make more sense. I don't know
Well,
that.
there are several ways that you can provide EMS coverage for your area. You can do what the town of Altona did, okay? Where they chose as a fire district to go out and hire a third-party person to come in and fill that, okay? Our Fire District 21 could go out and hire somebody to come in and cover that. But our Fire District 21, half of our property evaluation is non-taxable. We carry the school, we carry the church, we carry senior housing, and all of that. How would District 21 turn around and charge just its residents $420,000 when our budget is only $185,000? So, that's one way, we could third-party do that. We put it out to bid. But the goal is to take care of the people in our area with the people that have already been taking care of it and supplement them with a paid crew.
Okay, another thing, if we pass all this and all these things aren't up to snuff, the details of the property, some of the other requirements here, is your attorney gonna do that, or where's that gonna come from?
If I'd have known last week, when I came to you and said, is this an issue? I would have called Brad up and said, what's the issue, Brad, with this? They're telling me this. Brad would have explained it to me, you probably would have gotten hold of Joe and you yourself, and taken care of that matter if that was deemed to be a problem. So, I mean, I'm just explaining, this is frustrating for me to sit here. I understand that you may not have been included initially.
I
It
mean,
is
this
such a
first time
small,
we've seen it, so.
it is just a small portion of the town. There, you know,
I want it to work for you, but I wanna make sure it's the right thing, and I talked to the supervisor in Ellenburg, and he seemed to have some questions, and I talked to some of your fire commissioners that didn't have answers, so I don't know
Oh,
if we're at the point.
were they
where-
fire District 21 commissioners?
Yes.
Okay, I'll answer some of that for you. When I went to a meeting, okay, the very first meeting they had, they didn't invite me, okay? They chose to leave me out, I heard about it and I went anyways, after providing 25 years worth of coverage. So our commissioners knew about every meeting, because I'm the chairman. They had an opportunity and were invited to every meeting and chose not to go. I don't know how to get other people there. It's the same thing as volunteering. You don't get volunteers, it don't work. So, I'm gonna leave it in your hands. You guys make your decisions. If there's anything I can do for you, let me know.
Hey, Paul, just one more quick thing. If the town council decides not to do anything with this now, and you said you would the not-for-profit might be looking to the town for help covering these folks,
Correct.
so we're gonna be using an ambulance service that my taxes are going up for, to cover folks that aren't paying any taxes for.
You would have to go through the same thing to be able to collect taxes from it.
Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Bob. I think maybe in this case, I think we need some more information. I mean, it kind of dropped on us in the last minute drop. I don't know how you feel as a board, if you want to go ahead and vote on a resolution, or maybe even, can you poll that? If I go and find some more information out about, from the other towns and the other,
Yeah, I think the board should.
can I poll them and then pass it?
Just a quick question.
Go ahead.
If you pass it and the thing doesn't come about, what's the downside?
Well, you may have created an ambulance district, which,
But you're only a portion of it, and you haven't created it, because it's all gotta be together. You got three players involved, or
no, I think if we create the ambulance district, it will be created. It may stand by itself and nothing else.
You're gonna create an ambulance district for 2 houses.
Well, I thought I understood that it had to be all four
Yeah,
that had to approve it for this to actually be formed.
No,
Well, if we create a tax district, that's created from then forever.
We're creating, according to what Paul indicated, we would be creating an ambulance district that would, whose boundary lines would be coterminous with Altona Fire District number 21. And if for some reason that not-for-profit corporation is not formed, then the ambulance district is gonna sit there because, unless they can fund, or wish to fund, or the town wishes them to
Well, they wouldn't be able,
provide services.
they wouldn't be able to,
They probably wouldn't be able to.
it wouldn't be a big enough
well, that's why I'm
entity.
asking, what's the negative? There is, as far, you may have a district, but you don't have it, you got a shell.
Joe,
Right.
if they don't provide coverage, does it fall to the responsibility of this town to provide coverage for those people?
For those people, it would, yes.
So now we're gonna have to create a whole new ambulance district for our own.
Well, I don't think you
Or does it
have
fall-
to. There's an existing fire district.
But as I understand it, if Altona Fire Department decides we're done with EMS, tomorrow we give up, we're done, doesn't it become the town's responsibility to provide EMS coverage for the people?
I would say it does.
And if so, if
Well,
those
some
people
towns
get
don't
left
have-
out, is it this town or is it Ellenburg?
Well, it would be Ellenburg, because that's the district that they're in.
That's the fire district they're in, that's not the town.
No,
That's,
that's Altona.
because the District 21's in both towns.
I've been working with these guys from day one on this, and they've busted their butts and are on the ball with it.
These lines were drawn in 1940s when things were slow. I don't even know if they really need to be there anymore. I don't know, because I've never been in an EMT, nor have I been in the fire department. And I'm not trying to be hard to get along with, but I just want to make sure that when we create a district, that it's the best way to go, and that it makes sense.
Well, there are some other issues. My understanding is it's the cost to the typical property owner. I guess it would be in Altona Fire District 21, if it exceeds the threshold established by the state, you're going to have to go through and receive state comptroller approval. That's my
Right.
understanding,
That's in those standards I just sent you over.
which is a whole other process.
Mhm.
And if that's the case, there's no way on this earth that you're gonna get approval by March 1st, I can tell you that. I dealt with the state comptroller's office creating a water district in the town of Beatontown, and it's months. And my further understanding is that when you describe the boundary lines, you have to describe, and we've done it, the water district and some of the other districts, you actually have to describe the tax identification numbers of the properties that are included within that district.
Are they not grandfathered because it's already an existing district?
You still have to describe it. You still have to. I mean, it makes sense, but if somewhere we had the description of Fire District 21 by meets and bounds, then it would be, yes, I agree.
Now, are they asking for a whole new district to be formed, or are they just asking for permission to adjust the taxes in that?
They're asking for the creation of an ambulance district, which becomes a taxing district. It's a special district under town law, it would be 12A if if we proceeded on motion of the town board. And there's, go ahead.
I just don't, I understand what you're saying, John, I'm not arguing it, but I don't see the negative. It's there, but if there's no entity to run it, if this thing falls flat, then the town board has to deal with the problem of how do you get this area coverage. I agree, but you're gonna have to deal with that no matter what.
No, because if you create a tax district, then that's right on, they have to start taxing them.
Well,
No, because they won't have anything to, there'll be no budget, there'll be nothing,
I don't-
the area won't exist.
I don't know what the ramifications would be by just creating a tax district. I mean, you would raise,
I can't imagine they'd accept it unless it was first in place, you know what I mean? They're not gonna let you create a district if there's nothing to create it for. You can't just create a district for nothing.
It's already created, actually.
Well, the fire
District 21
district
is.
fire district, there's no ambulance district.
Is there a way you could add a contingency on the resolution to say, assuming this is created, we're all in favor of this? For instance, if it's not created, it's null and void?
But when I started looking into, I talked to the supervisor in Ellenburg, and he was kinda, didn't seem to be too informed, and he said he had a lot of questions and would like some answers too. And then I talked to some of the fire commissioners in Fire District 21, and they said they need a lot of answers. So I don't know how involved everybody is, you know what I mean? Because they dropped this on us, but we haven't been in privy to any of the meetings that led up to this. It's just all of a sudden it's
It
here.
would seem to me we would want to know if the towns of Clinton and Ellenburg are gonna be on board with this, because they're gonna have to establish these ambulance districts.
They're gonna have to do the same thing.
Right.
Yes, they are,
They all
and
do the same
in
thing.
their areas.
But in this here, what he proposed, the order, it's the description of the boundaries, but we don't have a description of the boundaries.
No, we know that it's, the ambulance district will be coterminous with the boundaries of
Fire district.
Altona Fire District
If
21, but we don't know what specifically.
Right.
You're supposed to notify the property owners that are gonna be involved. See, that's the whole purpose of the description. You're notifying the property owners that are going to be affected by this, by the publication of, the notice of hearing to discuss it. And obviously, they would want to, be the people that really are affected by this, will be affected by this.
It just seems
Those are the
that
people you have to put some notice on.
Just seems to me if it gets blocked here, we're not serving the townsfolk.
Well, it doesn't mean that the town still can't go through with it. I mean, we don't really know how long it's gonna take.
But then are they gonna, as they form this new district with the 3 other towns, they're gonna cut that portion of the town of Altona out. And now we have a group of people with no fire or EMS coverage.
Well, no, they would still have fire coverage.
Yeah, it's not
They
saying
still
fire.
have fire.
He's not talking about the EMS. Well, who's providing it now?
Right now, it's through the Elmer D.
Yeah, well, I would think.
And that's where their taxes go towards that volunteer fire department.
Well, where does the fire district tax go? The fire district 21?
Comes from here to them.
It goes to them.
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean, it seems like if we stop it on on your level here, it's
Well,
not
but what-
helping anybody.
I don't know that we're talking about stopping it. I think.
Well, if we fail to participate and they choose to change the district to exclude these people, we've essentially hurt our own town.
Maybe there's a better way to do it that we haven't even talked about, because, I mean, this kind of dropped on us in a hurry. For some reason, Fire District 1 went a different route. It must have made more sense, and maybe made more sense, and this, I don't know, I haven't really looked into it. I wish they'd included us on those other meetings so that we could be up to snuff on it. Same token, I don't want them to see them miss their deadline because of us. We can read this resolution and maybe do some quick research.
Well,
And
you know, the
pull
first
board
time
on it.
I was advised was January 6th.
Yeah, I mean, we just got it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you have to be careful. I don't know, Mr. Pinsky's gonna, you know, maybe I need to call him, but there are some things, I've been involved with this myself, with the ambulance district in the town of Morris, the attorney there, and attorney for Beekman Town for the
Can
water
we add a
district.
line, giving Larry permission to give it the yay, assuming everything comes together the way it should? I think their concern is the monthly meetings, they don't want, everything to be held up.
Well, I mean, but here, I mean, this board can always have a special meeting to adopt these things, and then schedule a, notice of hearing, an authorization for publication and all of that. But we have to be clear on, I'd like to review that language. I mean, I think the resolution calls for the hiring of this not-for-profit, but it may be some other. Let's say that they, it just seems the language needs to be more general so that the town could hire somebody else if this not-for-profit for some reason isn't approved in time or is not formed.
I can't imagine it's legal to put one certain group in there, I mean, without, because otherwise, I mean, maybe they wouldn't, but they could put any price they want on it if they're the only game in town. You gotta watch out for that.
Yeah, I don't
They
know
could be
that the
creating a
towns
good paycheck for themselves,
I don't know that the towns would be bound by that, even if it's in there, but I think that it should be more general. And again, we have to, and maybe I'll speak to Mr. Pinsky about that, we've got to come up with a description of this,
Now, this district, EMS
district.
ambulance district is formed, but this not-for-profit ambulance service doesn't happen. Can they could this ambulance district contract out to, say, Morrisonville, like District 1 is doing? To have
Yes, it
that
could.
coverage,
I believe it
so that they would still have ambulance coverage.
yeah, I believe they could. I don't think the town is bound from here until eternity to just hire this not-for-profit. No, it seems to me the town fathers and each town mothers would have the obligation to, get the best deal for their taxpayers in these
Right, so,
ambulance
just if, for whatever reason, this Northern Adirondack ambulance service doesn't transpire,
Right.
you've still gotta get some kind of ambulance coverage for these people.
Well, I think it would continue the way it has prior to that. I mean, they do pay fire district taxes to the fire departments that have EMS personnel.
So you're thinking Ellenberg would continue to cover it
I
then?
believe, yes, I can't believe it would.
Well, what's this resolution? Let's see what it says. It says, whereas the town of Altona is desirous of supporting and receiving services from the cooperative not-for-profit ambulance service, whereas the town of Altona desires to be able to contract for ambulance services and to raise funds to support their part of such service, which is not able to be funded through user fees. And whereas the town has prepared a map, which we haven't, but hopefully
They prepared it.
Okay.
Of course, I have a map.
a map, a plan, and a report that is in such detail as is acceptable to the town board, Altona Town Board. And whereas the map, plan, and report have been filed in the office of town clerk pursuant to section 209C of the town law in advance of the adoption of this resolution. And whereas it, in advance of it, that means, okay.
Yeah, you'd have to do that first.
Whereas the town board has adopted an order and entered the same in the minutes of this proceeding reciting a description of the boundaries of the proposed ambulance district sufficient to identify the lands included herein as in a deed of conveyance and improvements proposed, see, that's what you were saying. The maximum estimated amount proposed to be expended annually for the improvement and the cost of the district to be typical property, and the fact that a map, plan, and report describing the same are on file in the town clerk's office for public inspection, and specifying the time, when, and place where said board will meet and hold a public meeting to hear all persons interested in the subject thereof concerning the same. And whereas a copy of such order has been published at least once in the official paper of the town of Altona, the first publication thereof, which is not less than 10 or more, nor more than 20 days before the date set therein for the hearing of preceding this resolution. Whereas a copy of the order was posted on the signboard of the town maintained pursuant to subdivision 6 of section 30 of this chapter, not less than 10 nor more than 20 days before the day designated for the hearing since had on this issue. And whereas the public hearing was held on the blank day of blank 2014 at blank PM at the town offices with the street address of 3124 Minor Farm Road. Whereas the board has determined that the notice of hearing is published, posted, required by law, and otherwise sufficient. Whereas the board has determined that all the property and property owners within the proposed district are benefited by the proposed district. Whereas the board has determined that all the property and property owners benefited are included within the limits of the proposed district. Whereas the board has determined that the establishment of the ambulance district description is as follows. Territory proposed to be included in the ambulance district is all of that portion of the town of Altona that lies in the town of Altona Fire District 21. It is hereby resolved that, subject to permissive referendum, that the town of Altona establish an ambulance district for the benefit of all the property and property owners in a proposed ambulance district. And it is further resolved that such ambulance district shall include and be limited to the territory described above. It is further resolved that such ambulance district shall become effective immediately after approval of the voters, therefore as many as may be required by law, or in case no petition is successfully filed after the time to petition for a referendum has expired. It is hereby ordered that the clerk of the town of Altona shall file this resolution in the office of the clerk in the town and make such resolution available to the public inspection. It is further ordered that the town of Altona shall cause to be prepared and have available for distribution proper forms for a petition seeking a public referendum, and shall distribute a supply to any person requesting the same. Further ordered that if, after the expiration of the time for filing a petition requesting that the matter be submitted to a referendum for the property owners of the proposed ambulance district, no such petition has been filed with the town clerk is directed to file a certificate stating such fact in the office of the county clerk. Further ordered that upon the filing of such certificate of the office of the county clerk, the board shall adopt a final order establishing an ambulance district. The resolution has received the affirmative vote, and at least a majority of the board, the town of Altona, has signed below, and such resolution is hereby approved. Okay, where's our concerns in there then? My concern is the maps, plans, and reports, if they're in the proper order, and the only way we're gonna know that is talking to this Brad Penske, right?
Well, I believe you need a more specific description of the property.
Okay, and then, what else did I see down there? If we,
We need to know that, I think, the cost established by the state to the typical property owner, what the.
That paper I just
provided
gave you
was
just
just for
came out.
water and sewer districts, not for ambulance.
well, it's for special districts.
Well, it says.
It
to apply
did
to
use those
town.
as an example, but, I mean, any special district should follow that.
It says specifically water, sewer,
Yeah, because they're using examples.
well, they're different. He needs to know that.
Your EMS service cost is gonna be different based on population. The reason, Paul didn't mention, the reason St. Lawrence County is able to do such a large area at the same 400,000, because they're billing
Right.
people that own islands, and they're getting paid more. So if you're not making as many calls, then you're not billing as much, and not getting paid as much to generate the revenue. So I don't know that the comptroller's office would have an accurate,
Well, I think they come up with how they do it, I'm not sure, but,
something, I don't know how accurate it'll be.
but they do have, they do establish the, at least as far as they're concerned, the cost of the typical property owner. And in some cases, if you exceed that, then you have to not only get the approval of the town, but also you have to get the state comptroller's approval. Particularly, there's no question, if you're financing any part of the district, then you definitely need their approval. If you exceeded the cost of the typical taxpayer. I just would like to know what that is, so.
Well, right in here, one thing it did say is reciting a description of the boundaries of the proposed ambulance district sufficient to identify the lands included therein as in a deed of conveyance. So you're right about that, they gotta be a little more specific, I would say,
I
than,
think the whole purpose is to put the landowners within that district on notice, because they're directly going to be affected by the adoption of the resolution.
worst case scenario, if we pass this right now, the way it sits, we'd have a taxing district, and if it all fell apart, I don't know what happened to that, I'd have to find that out. If we get a chance to talk to this Brad Penske and the other two supervisors and maybe the EMS or fire commissioners, I would love to have a meeting with all of those people and gotten everybody on the same sheet of music, would have helped a lot. Maybe you could make a resolution to poll the board after investigating this in a few days or something.
The board, I don't have Mr. Pinsky's number, but
I got it here.
I'd like to have it and give him a call, maybe he can answer some of these questions for me. I mean, the board can always have a special meeting.
Maybe if a resolution is adopted, could be some kind of legal wording that basically gives us an escape route if it doesn't follow through. But in the meantime, if it does follow through, that we don't get excluded, basically if they get upset and basically deny our town coverage in that area. Is that something possible?
Well, I don't know how you can adopt, if, not all the language in there, I don't think is sufficient.
I talked to Dean, and he didn't think that they had enough time to get all this done with the state and the county.
Well, they're talking about March 1st.
He said it would be a miracle to see all this stuff work that quickly, and it would, because, I mean, we're only one small aspect of it. I don't want to be the one to hold it back. I mean, if it does make sense.
Well, you would, I don't think you're not gonna hold back the creation of the not-for-profit.
Right.
I mean, if,
I'd want to make darn sure that this was the route to go before I put a taxing, I mean,
Right.
we're the ones deciding that that'll be taxed forever. I mean, that's pretty serious,
Right.
So I'd want to make sure that that was the best route to go before we push this. Maybe somebody'd say, well, why'd you do that? You could have just done this. I don't know that because I haven't had a chance to react to it.
Did Dean have any other suggestions? Any other ideas for coverage for this area?
I didn't get a chance to talk, only on the phone for a little while, but I asked him about that, and he said he didn't think that it would have time to do everything that quickly. he did do a good job putting the packet together, you gotta give him credit, he's got everything pretty much taken care of, if everything's in order. I mean, if it doesn't have to all be changed, if it does, he's got a lot more work to do if he's gotta go back
Well,
again.
I don't think the resolution should state that, you know, because we're hiring this particular not-for-profit, I think, you know,
Yeah, I don't think that should be in there.
it should be more general, not that you're not going to.
Yeah, you may hire him, but I don't think legally you can put only one there.
No, I mean,
But that is-
if they, for some reason, they disband, which happens.
But this resolution isn't stating the name of that service, it's just saying
Not a
from a,
resolution that doesn't.
from a cooperative, not-for-profit sort of service, it's not stating the specific one.
Well, some of the towns that have hired CDPH medicals are ambulance, and I don't know if they're, maybe they're not for
But
profit.
that's different, you're contracting out as opposed to forming your own.
Well, no, you're contracting, right, but it would be the ambulance district.
So these three different departments are collaboratively forming a
Right.
not-for-profit agency.
Right.
They didn't go out to bid because they're not looking to contract. They're forming their own agency, employing their own people, keeping their own volunteers on board.
But it doesn't sound like they're all on board with it, because he said they didn't invite him, and there seemed to be a little dissension there. I'd like to check into that aspect of it. Also, I mean, we really don't know how everybody's getting along out there, how this has come about. Is this something that Paul thought of? Is this something that they're pushing? I talked to some of their commissioners, they said, boy, they need a lot of answers. I don't know, I mean, until we look into it.
So I think the opportunity to speak with Mr. Pinsky about some of these things.
Give him a call.
The reason this came out is because there's not enough volunteer ACLS coverage. And they can't meet the call, same reason, same issues that we faced.
Yep, everybody's getting some volunteering.
He's done a lot of work
He has.
on how much backing does he have, is he on his own doing all this work?
I know the town of Fairhouse was behind him, and I know the town of the departments in Elbert, Beaver Valley, and
As long as it's legal.
What about the town?
I know the person
Town board.
personally, he's a registered nurse.
I haven't heard any.
Yeah, I didn't hear any street.
Same issue as volunteers fail, all the town board, they all look at it. So they're behind it. I think the big issue with your fire commissions and
I have no presence, it doesn't.
Yeah, you're right.
Why I never.
Service to service that's
The
already
Elbert
been
Center hates Elbert.
established.
Two different breeds.
I would say Noble goes down, but we still have to keep it established. I don't know.
Once you
that.
got a taxing district.
I don't know that.
Yeah.
But if we're done, if it's done through an organization, do we follow suit with that, with those people, with the other towns, the other parties?
We'd have to do, yeah, I mean, if they, then they'd have to raise it, of course, and
Those people are
we'd have
not
to
They're-
accept
they're-
involved
That'd
in
be
the
my
tax
issue.
rate that we have.
We're putting something that lasts forever, that's the thing.
Certainly.
I would say that
Or
you're
something.
gonna find in 15 years,
We better put us.
probably won't have them, they're winding enough.
Otherwise, we'll change it.
State is
Going down.
volunteers qualify.
I'm not saying this is the solution.
Well, how do we proceed?
Right,
Do we
I
wanna
understand.
Do we wanna get, talk to,
get some answers?
get some answers?
Yeah, I can talk to Mr. Pinsky.
Okay, I gotta get his number.
So that we can move on this.
Yeah, and if, if we proceed, we should, certainly have.
Well, you gotta have a week notice,
Well,
right?
as much notice whenever you decide is possible. If it's scheduled less than a week in advance, then it's
Post it.
reasonable notice. You can contact press and say we'd like to put in this of interest, it doesn't have to be put in the legal, post it. In town bulletin board. You could do it, or.
Yeah, you can put it on the website.
Well, why don't we do that?
All right.
That, we're not holding anybody up, we're getting a few more answers. Anybody else is welcome to do the same thing. I'm gonna try to talk to 2 supervisors, I'm gonna try to talk to some of these fire commissioners. He's gonna talk to an attorney, and
When
then,
you spoke, did you talk to any of the town personnel, did any of the towns adopted?
I don't know that. I haven't talked to Chair Busco at all, and he hasn't met with Elbert yet.
Oh, yeah.
No, sure, let's believe it.
He
I
did.
know they're saying they're behind it, but no one has actually adopted
He said it was in the paper today for Chair Busker, I don't know if you haven't mentioned
I
it.
didn't see that, but if he's having three separate meetings on the
Yeah.
28th, the 30th, and the 31st, obviously they haven't really come to a consensus.
Yeah,
If he's,
Right.
it doesn't.
No,
Are those meetings or are those his
Those are the public hearings,
Public hearings,
but
those are public
they're
hearings
after the
for
approval.
They're required.
But they've
information.
already had the approval then.
I don't think so, I think they're
I don't
they're
know if they've had
informational
town
meetings,
meetings yet.
but I can find that
They're
out.
tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, that's what I.
Yeah, there is one tomorrow.
Yeah, it's just happened, what we get for having a Monday meeting.
He's obviously also talked to somebody, because he talked about the two ambulances being turned over to him, or actually three.
Yeah, three.
So somebody's talked to him in an agreement.
Yeah.
Um,
I know Town of Ellenburg, because I saw him just yesterday, or the day before, he hadn't, and he said that he was under the impression it's gonna be 40 cents, and now it's $1, he needs more answers. And like I said, I talked to one of their fire commissioners, and he said they needed to be a lot more answers. I don't know if I don't wanna get in the middle of a big fight, but at the same token, I wanna get some answers for us. So we don't come out with egg on our face looking like we jumped into something with both feet.
Now, this guy says, he thinks you're gonna get $1.
Yeah, that was,
Well, he's saying
He put
not
enough-
more than
he's
$1,
saying, yeah,
and I think that's better to put that
Right.
in,
Yeah, I agree.
to go higher.
Yeah, if they have to.
And then if it's less, that's great, but it's better to go higher than to go, say, 50 cents, and then it ends up being $1.
yeah. What if we, how much time would we have to get back if we needed a special meeting? Say we had one within a week, would that still give them enough time so we're not fouling work here? I would think it would. It'd give us a little bit of time to get our feet on the ground. You guys all didn't have anything. I mean, other than he talked to you a little bit that day. Gives you a chance to look into it, gives me a chance, and Joe a chance to talk to us.
You just can't.
I don't wanna jump into something that serious without knowing a little bit about it, that's irresponsible, I would think. So, let's look at it in if we have
I'll
to,
call you, Larry, as soon as I get a hold of him.
and we'll just call a special meeting and pass it on, if that's the case. A little short paper, Joe, we're gonna have to have a small one.
At least it's dry.
Come on.
Not many things are.
Okay, so we'll table this until we get a little more information, and we will act on it within a week, so we aren't gonna hold anybody up. Next thing on the agenda, we'll move right along here then, is Dine United. Eat out, give back, this is for United Way. There's some restaurants that participate, you tell them, they put you in for drawing for prizes. If you eat out on January 15th, any meal you eat out, you tell them that you're Dining United, and they give you some raffle things. I don't know, did everybody get that? Probably not. And
Gotta go.
the second page, maybe you don't have it, the second page tells, my fault, I should have given it to you. I didn't think it was that big a deal if I read that. That's all they tell you, when you go in these in a restaurant, to say you're Dine United, they give you, what they do is they give portion of either the tips or the proceeds to United Way. That's what it's for.
Is it only certain restaurants, or do you know that?
It is certain restaurants, our area, I see Arnie's, Duke's Diner, Ground Round, My Cup of Tea on Cornelia Street, Pizza Palace, Smooth Moves on Broad Street, Uno, Chicago Grill, and let's see, West Shazy Gumas. It's the only ones right near here. And if you wanna look at this or take it, you can, whatever, you know, just to let you know that could help United Way. The Town Garage Salt Shed Project, we're map, is that already put in the county office, Joe, the deed thing filed or no? Deed
No, I haven't, it's being prepared now.
Being prepared now?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's being prepared.
Once that's done, I'd like to get permission to start looking at engineers so we can get one on board so we can move forward.
This all said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I need resolution for the board to allow me to get some quotes from engineers and see if we can hire an engineer.
I'll make a resolution.
I'll second it.
And a vote, please. Jeannie?
Yes.
Ronnie?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Herb?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes. Supervisors Association, we got a monthly meeting, they charge $100 dues. And there's one January 15th in the town of Plattsburgh. They're usually held in the town of Plattsburgh meeting room. And this is gonna be with Ben Seiden of LaBerge Group to talk about shared services between municipalities. Sometimes it's good. I mean, sometimes it doesn't pertain to us, but other times it does, and you are welcome to go to those if you want. Need a resolution to pay the $100 dues to Clinton County Supervisors Association.
I make a motion that we pay $100 for the Supervisors Association. That's annually,
Yeah.
And a vote, please. Ronnie?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Herb?
yes.
Jeannie?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes. Clinton County Health Department, I need a vote of the board to, or a resolution from the board to sign a contract to allow us a clinic site for flu shots and that thing, and we get to bill the agency $150 a year, and we have to provide the place and have it in order. So I need a motion of the board to sign a contract with Clinton County Health.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
And a vote. Jeannie?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Herb?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Ronnie?
Yes.
Next, 13. Okay. Murnane finished up, and I told you that, I guess, last month, and we got a little less than $8,000 left, I think, in that grant. He did send quotes on other areas, one, the siding and the windows. Neither one of which we can afford right now, but he did send quotes to give us an idea. He wanted to help us get an idea how much those things were gonna cost. So I'll really don't wanna make it public simply because if we do something, we have to go out to bid, but I'll send it around so you can look at it and know what we're looking at. I mean, the windows are real expensive for that. And the only way we're gonna do anything like that is through a grant, I would think.
Is
You know,
this money here left from the grant, right?
about,
It's 8,000.
about eight, a little less.
How much time do we have to use it?
March or April, this spring, it's gotta be used, maybe it's May, I got it written somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
We might be able to get one of the chimneys taken down and
Right.
capped or something for that, hopefully we can use it for something like that. One chimney's about to fall down soon, so we gotta get it down and cap it off. Supervisors report, each of you have that, any motion on that?
Make a motion that we accept the supervisor's report as written.
I'll second it. I think we'll look at either.
And a vote, please. Larry?
Yes.
Jeannie?
Yes.
Ronnie?
Yes.
Jimmy? Sorry, Jim?
Yes.
I don't know where that come from.
I I've been called worse.
He answered to us.
Yeah, you did. Herb?
Mention most of it.
Before we approve the bills, I got a couple other things. I'd like to make a proclamation. I'm requesting a proclamation from the town board to designate January 24th as Hattie Boris Day in the town of Altona. Hattie's gonna turn 100 on the 24th. And if the board approves that, I would do a certificate for her and give it to her.
Is that actually
24th is her
the,
birthday.
say, because the card is.
25th is the
Yeah.
yeah. So I'd like a resolution from the board to make January 24th Hattie Boris Day.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah. Not every day we get it.
Somebody 100 years old.
It's awesome.
Yeah, 100.
Especially with a good mind.
Yeah, she's still doing very
She's
well.
tough over there.
In a vote, please. Jeannie?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Ronnie? Jim?
Yes.
There.
Didn't know what my name was gonna be.
Don't know what the answer to.
Every vote's a surprise.
I wanted to also let you know the roof leaked. In spite of the work we did on it, it leaked again. And I think it melted our telephone setup. And it's gonna be, I think, costly, because I don't think they have another one. He's supposed to come tomorrow.
Joe Seller's gonna come tomorrow, he said, and talk about our options, they can't get this one anymore.
The ice is the blame for it, and I darn near got killed trying to fix it. Darn near fell off the roof, fell down, slipped the edge and begged for forgiveness, let me off there, and I did get off, and I'm not getting back on by myself again, but anyway, it's kind of clear now up there, but it seems to be coming in by that vent, so I'm trying to get a hold of,
You ever put the air circulator in that they started to put in?
yeah, they're up
Oh, they
there,
finished them?
but it seems to be maybe leaking around there. We may have to claim this on our insurance because it's gonna be costly for those phone systems. I've got to call into Dean to see if he'll come back and check it out on there and see what he can do with it. And also, like you had suggested, pull the stuff away from the eaves. Maybe that would help. But I went across there, I must have had 15 inches deep of ice strip right across there. And I chopped it all up. Well, the town guys took share of it off, and I took the rest off the other end. And then, like I said, I tried to get up deeper, but we put a 3-foot moisture barrier in there, it still went above. And darned ice just keeps creeping, the water keeps creeping up under. When you chop that ice, it's just like water about that deep on the roof. I don't know how to stop it, we're doing the best we can, but anyways, it did leak, it ruined a lot of our paper, it ruined our telephones. It's just a nightmare. If anybody has suggestions or ways, I'm open to them. I'm thinking of getting those tablets to throw up there the next time.
That'd be
See if that
something,
helps.
yeah.
I don't know. I can't seem to just make it work.
That only helps after the ice is already there, but is there something to kind of prevent it? Or
We've been trying, I tried raking it, but you can't do it often enough, then it runs down. If you got, like when you rake it, you leave a little snow on there, as soon as it melts, it forms that ice already. So, I don't know,
Well, we had a lot of ice, initial ice storm we had too, so
We did.
maybe from this point out.
if Monday's supposed to get another shot. Maybe. We'll let Dean take a look, because he's a roofer, he was doing that, so maybe he'll know when he looks up there.
You may wanna get estimates.
Yeah. Empire State Development, I threw on top of your folders, there was this thing where if you hire someone that has been incarcerated, there's a whole thing here where you get tax write-off and also some, was it 25? Additional fidelity bond insurance policy for 25,000 can be provided for 6 months at no cost to you. There are people that are trained, they're trying to get them back in the workforce, you guys with businesses or any place that they can work, that's what this is all about. So each have one, if you can help somebody get back to work, get back on their feet, that's a good thing. newly elected officials, they always offer these schools, nobody usually goes, but you can. There's one, January 15th in Albany, and there's one February 16th through the 19th. Where's that? New York City. If you're interested, here they are. You can have those if you're interested in going to them. Our toner, they tried to scam us here. They called up and they said, we're awfully sorry, we didn't tell you that the cost of toner went up $100. And we didn't tell you, so we're gonna be the ones to guarantee you the old price. You can get 6 toners for the old price, and we're sorry that it happened to you. And I said, well, all right, but they even had the kind of machine and everything that we have, and so I'm thinking, hung up, and they called right back, and then they called right back, and I said, well, Jesus. They said, you do that yet? I said, no, not yet, I wanna look into it. So I go call my company that we're done, he said, you get your toner comes right from your contract, you don't have to buy toner on you. So it was just a scam to beat us out of some money. At least we caught up with them. I'm thinking, anybody that persistent, there gotta be something wrong here somewhere, and it was. But, so we averted that. Drove Mindy crazy on the phone.
They called all these days.
Did they again? Okay, if they call, our company said to tell them that we don't wish to be called any longer. Yeah. I called them back, but you don't, when you call them back, you don't get anybody. They get a recording, they don't wanna talk to you like that. All right, let's see. In your sheets that you have, you're gonna find, other than the bills that we're gonna go over, highway closeout and balance for December, that paperwork's all in there. Bank reconciliations in there. And there's also a spreadsheet I started to do for fuel in the hall and the garage. I didn't start to do it, Mindy started to do it. Cause I wouldn't have put it on the computer. But the, one bill already in January was over $3,000, so we can do better than that. We should be trying to cut that down. And the way to do that is to keep watching our heat in both here and the garage, and I try to turn them, they're pretty good in here. If they leave it turned up out there and then if you go away for a weekend, that's, sometimes that's set at 75 degrees out there.
Yeah.
If you're gone for the weekend, that's a lot of money for nothing, so I think we can do better. Our other bill had part of December and it was $3,300. I mean, we just can't keep putting that kind of money out. I don't know I know you need to melt the trucks off, no question about it, but to me, well, if you're in there and if you're not in there, if it's set at 50, that's melting the trucks off and you're not working at 50 anyways, but, and if they need a warmer spot, I don't mind buying, just putting some kind of heater in the office or, and it's not all there, and here's the same thing, this big all, if it gets forgotten, left off, we're burning a lot of fuel, so we gotta be a little more conscious, and I know Fred's trying real hard out there. So if anybody has suggestions, we're open to it.
Has the log been put into place back there for sticking the tanks on a regular reconciliation yet?
They need to get, that has to be done from the fuel company, to put a stick in the tank, you gotta have the stick, apparently, I don't know, Fred was telling me he needed to. You know anything about that, Jim?
No, it can't be that hard to find out.
You gotta do that work.
Tells you, where do you get those?
Calibrated, it has to be calibrated as
Yeah.
per your tank. So
It's
your
depending
tank
on the
has to
size
have
of your
a
tank.
certain measurement.
So.
The stick, and then
Where would
Your
we,
fuel
where would we get
company.
them?
Your fuel every company would have
Your
it.
fuel company.
Yeah, because
Right along the
the
line,
auditors wanted us to do that,
if you know the size of your tank.
so we need to figure a way to get that going.
We can help with
Where are we here? I guess that's it for there, so, we need transfers. And it says January 13th, 2014, requested bank transfers in order to zero out the accounts payable and payroll account. As of today, accounts payable, A202 has $37,037.58 excess money in it. And when I started here, we had a large, not when I started, when Mindy started, had a large excess of money and transferred some out, but left some in as a buffer. Now she's balanced out, you know what's coming, what's going in and out, you can transfer this money out. Please instruct me as what account transfer this into. And as I look through it, the best account for us, I would suggest to go with transfer to 9564, which is a money market account for the general fund. And whatever money is left, if any, in the highway, we want to transfer that to their money market so they can get to it if they need it. And one thing about the highway, we had paid for the work that they had done out of their CHIPS money. So when we got that CHIPS money back, we had to put it back where we had taken it from to pay for it before it got here. So that $45,000, some of that got used to pay for some of the repairs and whatever they had in the meantime. So we had to put that back, just so you know that. You can see it in your paperwork.
Okay.
So I would like a vote of the board to transfer this money from general into this money market account.
I'll make a motion that we accept the transfer from the general fund, you said?
Yeah, from the general fund into this money market. for the general.
Market.
I'll second it.
And a vote, please. Ronnie?
Yes.
Jeannie?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Herb?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes. And then we have to approve the bills. Motion on the bills.
I'll make a motion that we pay the bills as presented.
I'll second.
As you look at these bills, the ones you see the check numbers are all prepaid, so we wouldn't have.
Can we have a vote, please? Larry?
Yes.
Jeannie?
Yes.
Ronnie?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Herb?
Yes.
So you should have everything before you, paperwork-wise, to show all that. So, that's all I know, so.
Careful,
We both signed.
Anybody have anything else to bring up before the board for Paul?
I would like, just apologize for my passionate display earlier. I really would like to see this move forward tonight. If I understand it correctly, one of the issues you had with the resolution was that it names Northern Adirondack EMS Service as the provider. If you so choose, you can put in there an entity to be determined later according to the board. You could change the resolution so we can move forward with that tonight. Here is a changed resolution which includes the boundaries that are provided by the 1947 Incorporation of Ellenburg Depot. I have changed the resolution to include also see attached, and I have made a couple copies of the boundaries of that fire district for the board to look at if they so choose. Maybe you'll know some of these individuals, the founding fathers, maybe you won't. I'm sure they made sure their interests were involved. You take a minute to peruse that and see if that fits your.
What we have decided to do, Paul, is we put it off for 1 week,
Okay.
For our investigation, and then we're gonna meet back within a week to vote on it. So that way we aren't gonna
I
have.
have a few questions. Now, this looks good. Is this,
This is the exact description that came out in 1947 in regards to the portion that goes into the town of Altona. The original paperwork also shows the land description for Moore's and the land description for the town of Ellenburg. Okay, so this is specifically related to the town of Altona.
this
That portion,
describes
that is the
District
description.
21.
That does not describe the whole district. That only describes the district that goes into the town of Altona. You don't need to put the whole District 21 on there because we're only talking about the area that's involved in the town of Altona.
But this is town of Altona. I can talk to you.
Yeah, what we're going to do is we're gonna meet back within a week and act on the resolution at that time. We're gonna do a little investigating, we're gonna talk to our lawyer, gonna look around a little bit so we know what we're doing, and then we're gonna meet back so we don't hold you up.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you for your time and effort.
George, what is that?
Anyone else have anything?
This.
Two things.
Yes. That's
Oh, gotta vote, right?
Altona.
Sign sheet.
That's the
Right, that's only this piece.
Yeah, that's all we want.
Yeah.
Because that's,
Okay, go
this is the
ahead.
only part of it you're talking.
I would, as a person who voted to elect some of you, and as a voter in this town, and as a participant at these meetings, it would be appreciated if the meetings were a little bit more open. I don't have an agenda. I have no idea what was going on today, except for as it came from you, Larry. And I just think it would be nice if there was information available to the public, because they're the people who voted you in. And I get a very bad feeling watching this, because it's very much right there. And we aren't, you have gotten better in that you do open it up to us and give us a chance to speak. But we don't have any idea what the heck you're doing, and there is no information here. I don't expect to see the minutes because they haven't been approved yet, and we can't see those until they are approved. I understand that. But I just would, it would be nice to have more information put out to the public here in the audience. Just a thought, just a suggestion. The other thing, the town has over the last few years spent a wonderful amount of money rebuilding sidewalks. It seemed to me that we did this for the summer and the spring and the fall, hell with the winter, because we can't walk on them on the winter because nobody bothers to plow them. And I personally spent last Sunday 2.5 hours just clearing the piece across the street in front of John's house. And it took me 2.5 hours with that tractor to do that. It was a bear. And I don't see any sense. If we're gonna spend money in this town, we need to maintain it. I mean, it would be like saying, okay, let's repaint the town hall and let's not bother doing anything with it, or let's not heat it and then all the paint will fall off the walls. And to me, that's foolishness. So if we're gonna build these sidewalks, if we're gonna build ball fields or anything else, I think we should be concentrating on maintaining them. Personally, I prefer to see the plow trucks slow down on the roads and clear the road a little bit better. And somebody spending some time clearing the sidewalks in town, because there's a lot of old people who wanna park over here and walk to the post office. I mean, there are three buildings in this town, 4, because I can't allow, we seem to be killing people lately. But the funeral home, the town hall, the post office, and the church. And I looked, and the only piece of sidewalk was from right here around to the church that was cleared on that Sunday. Everything else was totally blocked. People were walking in the middle of the road. And that to me is just, you're not doing your people justice. It's a risk. And the cops have been wonderful. They've been patrolling the town like mad, and they pick them up. I loved it. They made a fortune here on Sunday morning. these people are traveling through this town like a bat out of hell, and when that road's icy, which it was, they can't stop. They may think they can, but they can't.
It was a little different storm than normal too, in the snow blower. Fred tells me the snow blower won't touch it.
I'm not arguing that, but we do have front-end loaders, tractors, et cetera, I think. Maybe we don't. And it took me 2.5 hours. Now, that was, I forget how many days, well after the storm. It had too much time to freeze up. If we'd gotten on it, I think that would have been a lot better.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Well, I can't speak for Fred, but I know he had a truck out, a down and out, and he had to put a new box on it. I know they were really busy.
Yeah, no, I know they were.
So,
Just the thoughts.
it's a good, good
Thank you.
suggestion.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Entertain a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
Second. Go ahead.
Anything all day.
Take your stuff out of it. You use it.
Thank you.